Steve, I was just reading through a very famous book in the Old Testament, the Tanakh, the book of Job. And this guy was rich. And it tells us how rich he was because in chapter 1, verse 3, and I'll read out, his substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. If you got 500 she-asses, you are rich.
Absolutely. He was, wasn't he?
You know, a major event has happened on this channel recently.
What's that?
We went over 500 subscribers.
Have we? Oh, wow, look at that.
Don't tell me you didn't notice.
I haven't noticed. Joe Rogan eat your heart out.
There are channels with much bigger hits than us, but hey, 500, that's great, and I think that's a great achievement.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, hold on, let me get mine.
I'll raise a glass to you for that one, fella. Cheers.
It's to you, sir. So thank you for all of the subscribers who have deemed to push that button and occasionally come back and listen. Thank you very much.
Even better.
Yes. For those who come back more than once, well done.
Well done, you.
Supposedly, though, I mean, I've been looking at 500 in the Bible. It actually is a very important number.
Yeah.
So Noah, in Genesis 5:32, he was 500 years old when he had Shem. In Exodus 22 to 30, there is a recipe that Moses has to make, and it's pure myrrh. And it mentions 500 shekels. And then he's also got a cassia, 500 shekels. That's a lot of stuff. You're looking now to see what 500 is in the Bible, aren't you?
I'm looking to see where you were reading from.
So it was Exodus 30, 23.
Okay. Just a good number, right? 500.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so significant. I mean, it's not the most important number that you'll come across in the Bible. It's mentioned a lot. I know in 1 Corinthians, the Lord is said to be seen by 500 brethren. It's just that odd number, isn't it, to have exactly 500? It must have some significance.
Oh, absolutely. These things have all got significance, Mark, haven't they? They've all got significance. I mean, it's used in genealogies, it's used in battle counts, it's used in measurements. And as you've already said, you've referenced the Genesis 5:32 for 500 years for Noah. You've already referenced it in Exodus. Pretty sure that David had around about 500 odd concubines or something like that.
Yeah, bit of a lad.
Chief officers who were over Solomon's work. There were 550 of those. A very early creed of the early Christian church that laid out the general pattern of belief that was codified. So 500 brethren. And so what does it mean?
Yeah, you could read too much into it, but the fact that it obviously repeats quite often, okay, over a big book or books, probably not much. But anyway, for us, 500 is very special. So here's to you again, sir. I'm going to have my second slug now.
Absolutely.
And who knows, in another 2 years, we may have got to 1,000.
You never know. Well, we have been slogging away for 2 years, 500 in 2 years. We won't work out what the actual average that is per day, but it's pretty close to 365 days in a year. So one every 1.75 days or something like that.
That's not bad. That's all right. At least it's a steady tick up.
Yeah, it's a steady tick up. But I do think that 500 in the Bible is a number that, yes, you can read too much into it. But when you look at where it's placed in Scripture, it's like everything. I don't think anything's wasted in Scripture. So when you look around the context, it often carries an idea with it. You think about Noah and 500. Well, 500 years before having his sons, which was a major life phase of his beginning, really. So it's like in the fullness of time. In the fullness of time, he had his sons. It also, when you look at how it's linked into King David, who was a warrior king, and Solomon, who was a great builder and creator, you've got the military strength, and you've also got measurement that comes into play. And then you've got, with the resurrection of Jesus, you've got something that links into the mass witness or testimony. And some scholars would say that the number 5 in Scripture is a symbol of grace. And so 10, being that quite a large number, could point to multiplied grace. And so when you think about 500 people seeing Christ, you've got an overwhelming confirmation of the resurrection and then an overwhelming outpouring of grace. So, it's got all of those symbolic characteristics: fullness, strength, transition, multiple witnesses. Quite a neat little number.
And certainly with ourselves, in the fullness of time, we hit 500. So here's to the next 500.
Absolutely. There we go. Just a few thoughts on the number of 500, eh? We won't even go to the Kabbalah and what that reckons.
Do you know?
No, I don't know a lot about the Kabbalah, but when you link in gematria, which is obviously every letter has a number, and so therefore 5 represents grace. You've got 5 books of the Torah, so hence 5 books of Moses. 100 represents a fullness or a completeness, like you get 100%. And so 500, as I've said before, represents this higher level of completeness, which when you think of a higher level of completeness, it moves you out into a cosmic scale of fulfillment, grace multiplied exponentially, which again, when you bring it back to Jesus, 500 see him resurrected from the dead. But in mysticism, in the Kabbalah, 500 is sometimes linked to the mysteries of the final redemption. And it's also tied into the hidden power of prayer, because final letters often hint at hidden or secret things.
It's assigned to the Hebrew letter Kaf, which is final. Let's hope is not our final subscriber count. So thank you, everyone. And if you can, share and leave a comment. See what you think.